Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready? Good. Okay. So that guy, have you heard in the news recently about this guy who is yet to finish editing a podcast from like a month and a half ago? Well, you see, I also asked the same guy to have news ready for this podcast, and he didn't. So, I wouldn't go that far. I do consider him a friend. Yeah, but then what if this? But what if I told this person, I gladly will help you, and the person goes, "Oh no, no, I got it." No, he can't. uh, so that cast. Oh well, he's. Uh, I okay, I won't. So I'm that guy. That guy is now dead. So I guess I get to take over the podcast. So, uh, yes, Bruce Campbell. Oh, good. You prayed to the Bruce Campbell in your heart, and he spared you this day. Thank you, Bruce. So that guy. The last time we did a podcast was a very long time ago. If you didn't notice in the intro, and I okay. I should then. Okay, that's true. You're right. I'll give you that. So I'm gonna change my words around. So a lot has happened between the last podcast and this one, which isn't always true. So I have several stories to tell. I have things to talk about, and I don't know about you, that guy, but my body is ready. Who goes first? Okay, so in games, I've been playing the game Cuphead a lot recently. And real quick overview for those who don't know it, probably Jeff. Yeah, yeah, it came out in like October 2017. So that's the thing is I've always been a huge fan of Cuphead. Like I watched four different full playthroughs of the game when it first came out. I really liked the look. I liked the sound and everything, and I was eventually going to get it, but I wasn't ready when it first came out, and I got it while it was on sale on Steam. It was on stale, if you want, if you may, yeah. And I, powered through the game. I did most of the achievements. The only one I beat the game, and I was like, I want to try and do the expert mode now. I did the first. I did. I want to do the expert mode, and I did two bosses. I was like, sweet. I did the next boss. Couldn't beat it. Did the boss after that because you have like an island, so you can kind of just do them in any order. And I was like, let's do this boss. Couldn't do it, and I was like, let's do this boss. Couldn't do it, and I'm just like, okay, my Cuphead playing is worn out now. But yeah. Oh, I didn't get to explain it for Jeff. It's Okay. Yes. That's a good way to describe it for Jeff. It's very ragey. I see. Most people just compare it to Dark Souls, but I don't think Jeff would know what Dark Souls is either. So that's exactly what Dark Souls is. It rage and do it boss fights that you it saves no progress. You have to start over from the very beginning when you die, and you just have these ridiculous things to deal with. However, I did play Bloodborne, which is from the guys who made Dark Souls, but it's like Lovecraftian themed instead of medieval fantasy. And I can tell you one thing in particular, with the exception of one level that was a run and gun level. That game is fair. Cuphead is fair. Every single time I died, it was my fault. Like I knew it, and that's what made me want to keep playing it. And when it, but Bloodborne was like, what is this piece of crap? They throw you against these ridiculous enemies that take 1,000 hits to die, and they're not even a boss. It's like a generic enemy in the street, and that I just really liked it. So that's what I've been playing. I don't really have much else to talk about in games, but I feel like we have to touch every category anyways in some way, shape, or form. Yay! Okay, do we need to stop this and come back? Okay. Yay! Boo! Cool. Sounds like an engineer. You don't have an Australian wrench? So, next conversation. Movies and TV. So, one thing I'll be getting to later is I went on vacation to Florida with my family, and we watched a movie during the vacation called Murder on the Orient Express. It's based off a book, and there's another movie that was out before it and all that. And I got the movie actually through the Bruce Campbell fan page. A guy had a contest. He's like, I have this code that I'm never going to use, so what I want you guys to do is come up with a Saw themed movie with Bruce Campbell. And mine was the winning one, and I don't have it here because I didn't think about that little detail. But basically, it was Saw kidnaps Bruce and makes him go through a series of puzzles that are based on all of his works, like Bruce Campbell's works. And in the end, it's revealed that Saw wasn't Bruce was never in any danger. He comes out completely unscratched, and he was never in any danger. Saw's just a massive Bruce Campbell fan and was living out his fan fiction. And that won me the code. So, anyways, I saw this movie, and just brief overview is the main character is this detective with a massive mustache, and he's got some serious OCD. He's a pretty cool character though, and the thing is, they do this with all these detective movies. There's an opening scene that's 5 to 10 minutes long where the detective solves the case. And it's there's already a plot twist. In this case, it's it was actually the police commissioner or whatever who stole the thing. And then he stops him in a badass way. It happens in almost every... Yeah, it's an introduction, and it's almost in every detective movie. And the main story is he's just riding on this train to go somewhere. I can't even remember why he was going there, where he was going or why. But basically, while he's on this train, a murder happens, completely coincidental to him being there. And he needs to figure out why this guy was killed and who killed him. And I feel like I should just say it. When did this movie come out? I didn't check this out. If it's over a year old, I'm gonna spoil it. Sorry, people. Murder on the Orient Express. Came out in November 10th, 2017. Okay, that's too soon, really. It has a 57 on Rotten Tomatoes for a good reason. I'm just going to say, I'll tell that guy off camera, because I shouldn't spoil it in case if you actually want to see it. But I'm just going to say here that when I first saw the trailer for the movie, I was like, I bet it's this. And guess what? It was that. Yeah. So now, you know what? I'm going to tell you now that guy while we're on the conversation, and you should probably just cut this out in editing. So basically, everyone on the train killed this guy. There's 12 passengers and the conductor, and with the exception of the detective, all of them killed the one guy. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's what happens in this movie. It's everyone. So I just called it. Like the first time I watched the trailer, I'm like, I bet you it's gonna be everyone. Like unironically, just called it, and that's what happened. Welcome back to the podcast. And also on top of all that, Final Space has been completely freaking awesome. Every episode's better than the last. And tomorrow, for us, will be April 30th. They'll be airing episode 9 out of 10. And episode 10 will be on the app available tomorrow. So me and my sister are just going to watch both of them tomorrow. So we don't have to wait a whole nother week to see the season finale. So it's been incredible, and really hoping they get a season 2. Yeah, we're hoping. It just hasn't been confirmed yet. Unlike another show that maybe we should briefly mention that got a season 2 before season 1 even came out. But yeah, today as mentioned, we're recording this on April 29th, 2018. It's a Sunday. Today is the last episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yep. And Bruce says he's done. My dad did make one point. He's like, I can understand that man is probably done with that role, but I'm sure if someone came up and offered him $10 million, he'd say yes. Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny that my dad said that. Yep. Yeah. And, you know, I can understand he's fine with being done with it, and I'm hoping that he hasn't confirmed anything, but I'm really hoping to see him in something else though soon, because because it's just because we haven't seen him he's been busy with Ash vs. Evil Dead for the last 3 years, so we haven't seen him in anything else really. Yeah. Yep. So I am looking forward to seeing Bruce do something else, because I'm going to take a small jab at the Bruce Campbell fan page. I love a lot of the people on there, but right now with all the people getting pissed off with Stars canceling it, you got to remember it's the Bruce Campbell fan page, not the Ash Williams fan page. I like the man, not the character. Yep. It's possible I'm looking at a picture of Bruce Campbell right now. Yeah, because when we were doing the Bruce Miss, not the this past year, but the year before that, when you gave me the Bruce Campbell quiz, you said, "What is Bruce Campbell's most defining feature?" And I made it, and basically we said chin like 30 times. or how many ever times it says on there. So I got it. So I googled Bruce Campbell chin and just took the pictures in order and numbered them. Yep, going through it right now. Yeah, it's the best folder. So what have you been watching, that guy? Yep. Cool. Same. You know what? I'm just gonna throw this out there real quick. Super short one. I did watch Avengers: Infinity War yesterday, and it gives them. I give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna tell you one thing. It is a part one movie. People seem to forget that. It is invented. It's not official title, but when they were first announcing like this phase of Marvel movies, this is Avengers: Infinity War Part One. So, oh god. Batman dies. It can't technic uh, officially it was open to the public Thursday night because of midnight viewings, even though it was like 8 o'clock when they started showing it. And but the official release date was Friday. But yeah, good. Not talking too much about it because I feel it's just too early and you haven't seen it and everything. And so I'm just saying, I liked it. Next, music. I actually have songs to talk about this week, that guy, and in-depth reasons why I like them instead of just saying like, yeah, I've been listening to this song. That's it. So, so a lot of this podcast is going to go back to the fact that I was on vacation, and two of the songs I listened to quite a bit, both by the same group, JT Music. There might be a machinima thrown in there. Let me look. I realize I should have probably had that. Yeah, they're just called JT Music on YouTube, and I've listened to got two songs. I paid for two of their songs. That's how much I like these songs. And the first, yeah, the first one. The first one is actually the reason why I picked up Cuphead on Steam to play. Is they did a Cuphead one, a Cuphead rap, and it's incredible. It's got like, they do like hip hop mixed with rap. I've mentioned another group on here that this group's actually worked with, Team Headkick, and they're kind of more like rock and roll metal rap. So these guys are like hip hop and rap, so it's got like that upbeat. It's kind of they got like the 1930s music going on during the rap, and it's littered with puns. It's so many puns in this song. It starts off. The first line is, "Take a sip of this. I'm an itty bitty Cuphead." One sentence in, I've already made a pun. So there's that. And then the other one I've been really jamming out to is Meet the Team, which is a TF2 one. And the reason I found them, this is how I found them, is because of this song. They recently, I say recently, it was 6 days after they released their animated music video for it, and it was in my recommended feed, and I watched it, and I was like, this is pretty awesome, and it's quite incredible. One of my favorite lines in it is, so the song does so many things. It goes down the order of the class list, so it goes scout, soldier, pyro, engineer, heavy, demo man, medic, sniper, and spy, which I thought was an amazing detail. And then they kind of all have their own individual raps and stuff. And my favorite line has got to be the soldier saying, "Learn from a soldier who's reached perfection." And then in the music video, the animated one, when the sniper's rapping, he's just sitting in a chair, like from like a perch, like in like this factory, like just like bouncing up and down rapping, and then he just being like lazy basically. And yeah, but I thought it was very enjoyable, and I recommend it. Look at that comprehensive music. What about you, that guy? Groovy. Sorry, taking a sip of water. Ugh. So, that brings us on to the other category. Yay. Do you have stories, that guy? Okay, well, I have a pretty lengthy story, which is my journey to Florida. I wrote a list of all the major events I wanted to talk about. And I also went to a Comic Con recently, and had a couple of small things I wanted to talk about that. So, however you want to do this, that guy. That sounds good. We'll bounce back and forth. You mean the thing that they totally stole from Minecraft? That was the joke that they that was the joke when they first implemented it into Roblox. Yeah, it was. They just stole Minecraft's oof. That's all. That's the extensive amount of knowledge I know of it. Oh, you mean like when I make noises when I eat something? I do that on I notice it after I do it. Like I do it unironically. I just go oh. And then that guy goes, you don't have to make actual noises when you eat. I'm like, I can't help it. I just do it. That reminds me, just another that my life has been dominated by Cuphead recently, and it was funny. I was booting up Discord the other day, and the intro tag or whatever they say, how they have something like that. It said a brawl is surely brewing, which is one of the things that the narrator will say when you start a fight in Cuphead. He says like 3 or 4 things, so you learn it pretty quickly, but I just thought it was weird that it was like shortly after I started playing Cuphead. That's the first time I see it. Oh, that's good. Good for them. Good for them. Ugh. So, story time. So, I have to say that I hope I can get these details all right because it's been a bit of time. It was the first week of April when we went on this vacation, and I was hoping we could podcast shortly after where the thoughts would be fresh in my head, but that didn't happen. Luckily, I did make a list. And this is my adventure, for the most part, in order, with the exception of the last thing. But I think I had to save it for last because it's more of a meme for the podcast, and I feel it's just important to save it for last because it was memey. So my adventure starts that guy. We get up. Well, actually, we don't even get up. Our friggin' flight was late. It was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So we go there to the Albany International Airport, and first off, we try to find dinner, and there's like 3 or 4 places to eat in that place because it's pretty small. My dad's original intention was for us to get some Chick-fil-A, but that wasn't built yet, so we ended up at McDonald's, and yeah, in the mall, or not in the mall, in the airport. So you had to have a ticket to go get Chick-fil-A. So, anyways, we ended up at McDonald's, and I was like, I'd like some nuggets and honey mustard sauce, please. And after a few moments of waiting, the woman goes, this woman shouts across the noisy airport at me, asking what kind of sauce I want, because apparently they were out of honey mustard, but I didn't know. I was just like, honey mustard, but I didn't know. I was confused at the moment, and she goes, we don't have honey mustard. I'm like, how about this sauce? And they're like, no, we don't have that. I'm like, okay, what do you have? And she's like, we have sweet and sour, the buffalo, barbecue, Szechuan, and ranch. And I was like, I'll have Szechuan. I literally didn't even think about it. I sit down, take my bag, pull out the sauce, and I look at it, and I look at Jocelyn like, Jocelyn? She's like, Joey, is this what I think it is? And she's like, yes, it's Szechuan sauce. And it wasn't great, but it was still just a surprise. I didn't know it existed, to be honest. Like, I knew like McDonald's had it for like a day, and not even that. Like, I didn't know they actually brought it back, so I got it. It wasn't fantastic, but it was all right. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, if I go to a McDonald's again to get chicken nuggets, which I almost never do, and if they don't have honey mustard, I'll get Szechuan. That was just an amazing time where I was like, holy crap, Szechuan sauce. Meme completed. So we get to Florida, and we are chilling and enjoying time, and we go to, hold on, I got a burp coming. Ugh, excuse me. So we're enjoying our time, and we go to Disney Springs, formerly known as Downtown Disney, where there's just a bunch of stores and restaurants and such. And it's a nice place just to walk around for an evening. And one of my favorite reasons to go there is they have a Lego store there. So this year I went in there with a purpose, because I've seen this Lego ship model. It's a ship in a bottle. And I was like, I want this. If they have it here, I'm buying it and I'm building it this vacation. And wouldn't you know it, they had it there. So I got it, and I brought it back to our condo. And we had a rainy day one day, so I sat down and tried to build it. And what happened was, I built the ship. It was pretty tedious. And then you build like half the bottle, put the ship in there, and then build the rest of the bottle around it. And then you build it. Yep. I'm like looking at it right now. It's a pretty cool thing. And you build a stand and you put it on there. So I messed up the ship, and I basically put a piece in the wrong spot, messing the whole thing up. And I put the ship in the bottle, and it seemed fine. And then when I tried to build the next part around the ship, it was like, why isn't this fitting? This isn't fitting right. So I looked at it. I'm like, everything's right. At least I thought it was. And I was like, maybe I just gotta push a little harder. And the whole thing exploded. So, completely devastated. I just put it all back in the box, put it in my suitcase. I'm like, I'll build this when I get home. But I built it when I got home. I figured out what I did wrong. I was really upset at myself that I did that wrong. But at the same time, like, I wasn't also at the same time, like, I was upset I did it wrong and I didn't figure it out. But at the same time, the instructions were kind of on it. Because what this set specifically was is some random Lego enthusiast made a ship in a bottle Lego thing and it submitted it. And then, like, some people at Lego are like, this is really cool. We're going to help you turn this into an actual set. And so, yeah. This was called a creation kit, I think it was. So that's what this was. And it's, like, right by my bed, and I really enjoy looking at it. Part of me wants to take it apart and build it again, but the problem is it comes with almost 400 single clear blue studs for water, and it looks cool, but like I don't want to just like take it apart and 3 months later still be finding clear blue studs everywhere. Oh, well, you see, sir, I've been going to Florida and getting Lego sets and building them down there and bringing them home for many a year. So I know, so I would have known how to, I would have basically, the way the box is and the bottle, the box and the actual set, like I could probably have just taken the bottle in half. And then the ship and the stand, I probably wouldn't have taken the blue studs out. Like I might have been stupid and done it, but we'll never know. But I could have made it. I would have known how to make it work, or I would have taken it apart myself just enough so I could easily reassemble it when I got home. But I'm quite the expert in that. If they could give out prizes for that, I would probably come in third. So, another thing I wanted to do in Florida was I wanted to go to a couple different restaurants that were featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Because it was like, we've been going to Orlando, Kissimmee area for freaking almost my entire life. 20 years on and off, basically. And we've never really done much different than what we've done when we go there. So, we'll go to Disney World or Universal, we'll hang out at our condo, we'll go out to eat and stuff, but we always go to the same places, yada yada yada. So I wanted to go to this place called Fat Ones Hot Dogs, which was located in the Orlando Mall. And they have like foot-long hot dogs that are like really big, and they stuff them with stuff. They're all different. So there's like a pizza one, which is like, cheese, pepperoni, and marinara sauce. The one I wanted, their signature, is like chili sauce, French fries, cheese, stuff like that. And it closed. Turned out it was closed, like permanently closed when we got there. And it happened recently because so it's kind of confusing what they did at this mall. So they have the regular old restaurants built into the wall basically thing going on, but then there's a couple that are like stands that are built in like the middle of the dining area. And it was one of these stands, and it was still there. They didn't have the sign up or anything. And it must have been closed recently because before we were going, like like a week or two before we were going, we were looking at the menu to make sure it was there and what we wanted to get and stuff, you know, kind of getting psyched up to go. And we went there and it was closed. So I didn't get a super hot dog and I was very upset. Yeah. So that was a sad part. Also at the mall though was this thing called Dragon Breath. So what it is they take essentially gigantic Trix, you know, the cereal, like the puffy one, when you know how they turned it into puffs now instead of like the freaking shapes. Do you remember that when they had the Trix were the shape of the fruit that it was? I miss that. I don't know why they changed it. Probably because it's cheaper and they could get away with it. Anyways, it was giant. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I don't care. Trix, you're probably making $6 billion a year. Get back to the good old days. So they had these giant, like, puff balls of Trix, and they would basically coat them in liquid nitrogen, and you'd eat them, and they'd explode. Like, the liquid nitrogen smoke would explode, and you could, like, breathe it out like fire and through your nose. And it was super expensive. Like, it was like $8 for, like, a small bowl, basically. And, I mean, it was an experience that I just wanted to mention because I spent money on it. And also, my sister didn't share it as many with me as I thought I was planning on sharing with her. She had, like, 2 out of, like, the 20 we had. So, like, my tongue was literally frostbitten by the end. So then that leads us on to, I'm pretty sure it was just the next day, where me and my sister went to Disney. And I did something special this year for Disney. I went dressed up as Seuss. And guess how many times I got recognized? Yeah. And meanwhile, my sister got complimented on her shirt twice and her skirt twice. So, she was wearing a Mob Psycho 100 shirt, and her skirt was just, like, a cool-looking galaxy skirt. Like, it's like a galaxy, purple stars, all that kind of stuff. So I was a little upset that nobody went, like, hey, look, it's Seuss. Or even some... Yeah, I was a little upset about that. Like, I was really hoping. But I did... So we went to, excuse me, we went to Hollywood Studios, it's called now, formerly MGM. And we instantly queued up for the Toy Story Mania ride. And we were freaking there for like an hour and a half instead of like we were there for an hour and 15 minutes because the wait time was 2.5 hours and we got through it in half that time. And I think the worst part about it, and my sister said the worst part was there were these teenage girls behind us playing Heads Up, and they were just like screaming and shouting the whole time. It didn't bother me. What the worst part is these 3 guys who work at Disney are dressed up as Green Army men show up, and they start doing like this sketch with the audience, like this training regime, and it's really entertaining. Like there's a part where he's like, the head guy, Sarge, is like, we are playing Sarge Says. It is like Simon Says, but better, because I am Sarge. And then he's like, Sarge Says, about face. And then they all turn around, and he's doing all this stuff. And then he goes, Sarge Says, present arms. And the 2 soldier guys put their arms out. Yeah. I just thought that was, like, the best way they did it. But then, like, the problem is as soon as... You know, we got like that was like the first part, like it was the first quarter of the thing was Sarge Says. And all of a sudden, like, our line moves, like, like, first we're, like, right there in front row. Then all of a sudden our line moves drastically. We're almost, like, by the entrance to the ride. I'm like, what is this? We finally get entertainment and they move us. But we went on the ride and that was fun. If it wasn't a freaking 2-hour wait, we would have gone on it again. And then we saw this Muppets 3D thing. That was fun. and we walked around the rest of the park. There was nothing else we really wanted to do. Everything else was like extremely long wait, and we didn't really nothing like really stood out. So we had hopper passes, so we just got on a shuttle and went over to Epcot, and we walked around. What did we do at Epcot? We met Baymax, which was cool, and we saw they did this. The one of the last thing, we didn't do too many like rides, quote unquote. There, the last thing we did ride wise was we went to. Basically, they do a 4D showing of Pixar movies, some Pixar shorts. So the first one was they did this thing. What they did was they took a classic Mickey Mouse cartoon, and like he like comes out of the screen, like it's like a 2D black and white, and he comes out of the screen in like a 3D world and everything, and like they have like lights and the chairs move and stuff when a car crashes and everything. And then yeah, so that one was really good because I'd never seen it before. My sister said she's seen all of them online at least, so but I really enjoyed it. And then the second one, I think it was called Pippin, and it's like this baby seagull who he starts off like being afraid of the ocean where he has to go get food, and then he like and then he like learns to love the ocean. It was really enjoyable. And then the last one was I can't remember what it's called, but you know this one. It's the one where it's the dog who eats everything. Yeah, that they played that one last, and that was really enjoyable. And yeah, so we did that. That was fun. And anyway, so I was Seuss, and we walked around, and at most of the countries, I stopped and did a little sketch with Seuss, which I'm working on editing for a series called Seuss Around the World. And I think I did a pretty good job. There's like, I think the problem. So we go to Morocco, right? And at first I thought it was Mexico. And so for the sketch, I was like, well, I had a bunch of things ready to talk about Mexico, but it's Morocco, so I don't know what to say. I feel kind of bad. I really just didn't have anything prepped for this. Okay. I guess I'll see you at the next country. I feel like kind of bad for Moroccan people, but you know, that's what it's gonna be. Let me look at my list. I gotta see. So that was fun. Next day was rest. Okay, so the last day, a lot of things happened on our last day. So, checkout time at the condo is like 10 o'clock, but we're allowed to. We are allowed to stay and use the facilities. We just can't stay in our room. So, me and my mom went to play bingo by the pool because she loves doing that, and I won the grand prize at the end with someone else, so I had to split it, but I still won that. $150, but my mom paid for it, so I just gave the money to her, and then she gave me like $20. But whatever. Yeah, that's really what it came down to. Ugh. Sorry, I had been talking too much. So, anyways. So I said that I saw some restaurants on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and there was another one I wanted to go to that my dad said, let's go. And it's a place called Mrs. Potato. And this place was opened, and oh my gosh, the thing I got was incredible. So, it did. So what I got, I was a little disappointed because my mom got one of their signature things. It was like an empanada. That's like one of their specialties. But then my dad just got like beef stroganoff, and my sister got a regular baked potato covered in bacon and cheese, and she barely touched it. But the potato was huge, dude, by the way. It was freaking... I wouldn't say... it was almost the size of my keyboard. Like, I'm not sure... like, it was a big potato. I don't know where they get these freaking Hulk potatoes, but it was massive. And what I got was like another one of their signature dishes. And it's basically like a hash brown casserole, and all the stuff is stuffed inside. So I got like chicken, bacon, and ranch. And that was really good. I could only eat about half of it. And I couldn't bring any home because we were going on the plane. But that was it was a pretty it was enjoyable to actually go there. And they had this like really good garlic sauce that I just put on everything. So after that, we're walking around. So Mrs. Potato, the restaurant, is part of like a strip mall, and we're walking around, and we go into this place called Super Dollar. So, what do you think when you hear Super Dollar, that guy? Okay, that's not a terrible thought. So now I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but so we first see it, and like the things in the windows are like some cheap wigs and like some cheap like Japanese dresses and stuff, and they had some like prop swords in there, and I was like, let's go in there, Jay. So we go in, and it's like I almost can't explain it. It's like a garage sale, but in store form. Like, I wouldn't say a flea market. It's just they had all this stuff. Like, they had a box full of like $3 sandals in plastic bags that they bought in bulk. They had freaking a array of automatic weaponry for airsoft that were all cheap. They had freaking swords and blades. They had incense and stupid little plastic figures, which I bought one because it was Diglett, one of my favorite Pokemon. Freaking the incense, dude. So me and my sister are looking at the liquid incense smells, and there's like lilac and lavender and cherry, and then I'm trying to think of which one would be more shock. It's probably the other one. So there was a bunch of shocking ones. One was called Poison, and the other one was called Pussy. It was literally just that. And then, yeah, that's what it said. That's what it said they were. And it was just ridiculous. It was like a bunch of like really cheap junk. And on top of all of that, at the front of the store, they had little turtles for sale. Live turtles that were like as big as the palm of your hand for like $12, and I wanted one really bad, but I was like, there's no way we can get this on the plane. I was like, I want one. And because they were $12, they probably wouldn't have survived like 5 minutes out of the store, to be honest. But it was still like, oh my gosh, little turtles. So I was freaking out over that. Let's see. So 2 more things I wrote. So the next thing I wrote down was the plane staff, and unfortunately I can't remember like specifically what happened, but we had this staff that was absolutely incredible on the plane. They were funny. There was that. Well, like but they were also making jokes too, like so the normal thing with the life vest, they say you can pull on the cord or you can inflate it manually. But what they said instead was, you can pull on the cord, or if you prefer to do things the hard way, there's the manual tube. And then, like, when we landed, these are just us. I think it's coming back to me as I'm talking about it. So one of the air staff, they had cans of water, and she got into a chug off with some of some of the passengers on the plane, pretending they were beers. When they landed, she sang a cover of the Flintstones theme song, which was it was really good. I couldn't tell you what it was. It was about flying on Delta or whatever we were flying on. But it was really good. And then, oh, she's also like, ladies and gentlemen, we made a detour and we landed in Hawaii. And, you know, it just honorable mention, they were pretty awesome. So that guy saved the best for last. Are you ready? So, to top off this Florida story, while at Florida, at the mall specifically, I bought some new socks. I yeah, I went to a Payless while we were there, and I got some new shoes that were in my size, and they're pretty awesome. They're Velcro, so I don't have to worry about tying, which I don't really tie my when I get shoes. I don't really tie. I tie them once, and that's usually it. Apparently, my family does because they think I'm weird for not tying my shoes. Okay, so but anyways, I bought the shoes. They have Velcro, which was pretty awesome. And the woman's like, do you want to buy some socks? They're 50% off today. And at first I was like, nah. I'm like, yeah, let me just go take a look. And they have socks in my size. Normally, for a size 15 guy, I get like socks from Walmart that go to the max like 12, 13 if I'm lucky. But they're socks. They stretch. And it's like, they'll be a little tight the first one or two times I wear them, but they stretch out pretty nicely. I got these socks, I put them on. Oh my gosh, they just fit. Like no tightness, they just went on, and I was like, wow, this is like luxury. And that concludes my trip to Florida. I did. I prefer it more than snow and cold. Yeah, one of my big bucket list things is for a group of friends to go to like a theme park together for a day, like Universal or something. I think that'd be like super awesome. In my mind, it seems super awesome. We'd probably lose Jeff and spend half the day trying to find him. So what's your other story, that guy? Dude, you did more than what I would do with any like corporate job. Like, so you shouldn't feel you should feel better than Joe. Be like, it's not a dick move. It might have been a Joe move. I wish more radio stations did, the old play records and whatever you want kind of thing instead of being all business like they are nowadays. Ew. Business can eat cake if it wants. I got as a side note, so that day, with the last day, coming home from Florida, I got a I got a message from one of Olin Rogers' cronies. That's a rude term to call him. One of his workers, and he said, "Hey, so you're such a loyal fan. You got selected to buy this mystery box that only 40 other people are gonna get. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." So I still had to spend. I had to spend. I got. I don't even want to say how much I spent to get it, but it was Olin Rogers, so it could have just been an empty box, and I would have been happy. Um, yeah. So, but in the box, I got two shirts, a bandana, a coffee mug, two coasters, and a sticker. So, it was pretty cool. I did an unbox. I recorded an unboxing thing, but the problem is it ended up split. My phone split it into two parts for some reason. It's not even that long. So I had to put it on my computer and fuse it together, but that requires effort. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was I went to a Comic Con semi recently. It was a cup. No, it was during your LAN party. Yeah, it was Empire State Comic Con. It was the first one, and it was pretty cool. There was a lot of people there, like Lou Fregno, the guy who voices Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He does some other voicing, but that's all I know him for. Uh, there was the guy who played Freddy Krueger, and let's see. There was a guy who was one of the pilots from Star Wars Episode 4. Like if I were to show you, I don't know. He was one of the aliens. He like wore the costume and everything. Uh, yes, it was that guy. Not that guy, but him. So he was there, and there was also a guy who did the voice. I can't remember the name, but he does the voice of the French fries from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And I wanted to go up and ask him if he got to work with Bruce personally during the one episode Bruce guest voiced on that show, but I didn't, and I didn't want to get punched because he looked like a nice guy, but didn't want to risk it. If we ever if this podcast, if we ever get a guest on it, that is all we're doing is asking them questions about Bruce Campbell. Like, even if they... Well, that's exactly how I picture it. It goes, have you ever heard of Bruce Campbell? No. Okay. Next question. What's your favorite Bruce Campbell film? And just literally just constant Bruce Campbell-based questions. Well, you know what? You should have come on that cast where we talk about Bruce Campbell. So anyways, it was fun. It was a pretty big convention. A lot of cool things to see. A lot of cool people. Talked to some artists and stuff. There was one guy. So you know that classic painting of I'm pretty sure it's Jesus laying there and reaching his hand out and God's touching it. So a guy did a fan parody of that where Jesus was an LGM and it was the claw. And I talked to that guy about Toy Story a bit, which was fun. And I went as the Heavy from TF2, and I got recognized a few times. The weird thing with this con is they didn't let food or drink in, so I made a sandwich specifically to, like, you know, have it there, and also I would have lunch without having to pay whatever ridiculous amount for food there. And so what I did was I went back to my car and I had like some water and some Impacts, which, if you don't know what that is, it's generic brand Red Bull. And I threw it in my car so I wouldn't have to get rid of it. But I took the sandwich and I have the pouch that the Heavy has on his belt, and I put the sandwich in there and walked right in. They just checked my bag and they're like, because I had a bag over my shoulder for carrying stuff I bought. And so I just kept the sandwich in there. No. And so what I did was, like, after like an hour or so being there, it was lunchtime. So I went over to a corner where no one could see, where no security guard was standing. Like, I was actually kind of standing behind one, and pulled out my sandwich and ate it like the Heavy does. Just, yeah, just, I did. I did it quiet. I did it kind of quietly, but I went nom nom. And I was really hoping someone would have, like, sniped a picture of it, but nobody. But I never saw anything turn up of it. And then and then I went out to my car and ate the other half and took a picture of me eating it, so that way it wouldn't go completely to waste. But a couple people recognized me. One guy thought I was Duke Nukem. Yeah, I was like, it wasn't too bad. And my biggest problem was I had my bullet belt kept falling apart. It was terrible. It would just go like, the bullets would go everywhere, and it was just, like, awkward. I'd have to, like, put my minigun down and, like, crawl around on the floor and pick up my bullets and the clips that hold them together. And, like, I got to a point where I was like, screw it, and I just took it all and threw it in a bag. And then this really cool guy who's, like, dressed up as Nick Fury comes by. He's like, hey, you want to take a picture? I'm like, Yes. But I was like, right after I gave up on my bullet belt, he's like, hey, we're just here having fun, aren't we? I'm like, yeah, but still. And he's like, yeah, I get it. But that leads me to the one thing I have to mention on this podcast. My bullet belt falls apart, and unfortunately, I lost one of the bullets. And so, yeah, so now it's not like the end of the world, because what I did before even going to the convention is I took like 5 of them off, so that way the belt was tighter on me. And, you know, so I lost one. It wasn't the end of the world. I could still put it together. It would still fit fine. But I was like, I still wanted to see if I could find it. So I walked around the whole convention floor looking for this bullet, and I couldn't find it. And I came to the realization, sir, that no man can be outsmarted by bullet. I was outsmarted by bullet. That's it. The bullet was gone. I lost it. I couldn't. So I was just like I couldn't. I was outsmarted by the bullet. Just like in Meet the Heavy. Ugh. So you got anything else you want to say? Okay. Well, I did write a prayer. Do you want to hear it? So I wrote this prayer on my trip, and it's a prayer for traveling. Whether I'm traveling near or far, I know exactly where Bruce are. I know that's bad grammar, but at least I made it rhyme. Now shut the fuck up. It's Bruce Campbell time. That's good. Yeah. So, that was a podcast. And, yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it. That guy, did you know what I was doing during this podcast, though? That's good. I'm kind of upset you didn't say anything, but, you know. Oh. Yep. I've just had pictures of Bruce Campbell going on my desktop, so... for the background. So, yeah, the first ever That Cast live stream. In case if you were wondering how terrible it is without that guy's amazing editing work. Yeah, I know. I'm that guy. Also known as Joe Thunder. And you've been listening to That Cast. Bye!